Sometimes it's good to just dance.
Welcome to the Good Stuff Family Podcast. I'm Dawn Kendrick, and I am so glad you're here. These are stories from the perspective of a news reporter on a next-level assignment. Everyone has a story. Stories of hope, resilience, and how we believe God weaves people, relationships, opportunities, all of it for good. For many of us, faith leads our steps, others not so much. But that is what makes this growing Good Stuff family great. We know the journey is better together. Welcome to the family.
Well, I got a suggestion. Sometimes it's good to just dance. Come along.
Good morning. It is Friday, the 4th of July. Friday means we're gathered around the virtual gratitude table for the best part of waking up is waking up, where we celebrate all the things that inspired us this week. And today, of course, we have a special 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. Salute to some veterans who we love and admire, and some initiatives that they're doing in the future when we set off these fireworks, and we don't really think what that means for veterans with PTSD. So we have a lot to get to. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning, Dawn. How are you?
I'm so good. Good. My heart is so full when we think about why this is the land of the free. Mm-hmm. It's so full today to celebrate people like my new friend. We could go ahead and bring him in right now. Can you bring in Mike? I'll pull up his banner here. Mm-hmm. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
Oh, we have so much to get to, and I want to start with you, a Vietnam veteran, and it's a family legacy of serving for you, Mike. So you served in Vietnam. I love these pictures that this is you, but your story has so much depth in that your dad as well. So there's you on the left, but your dad, Claude Gosnell, was an Army veteran, World War II, D-Day, paratrooper, 101st Airborne Division. And the story of what has happened in the years since, I'm going to remove this and bring you back. Here we go. There we go. So give us a window into this Bible that came back to you in 2018, this Bible that your dad had with him when he was serving. Can you walk us through that story again? What a fantastic story.
My wife received an email in 2018 from a lady in France saying that she had something that she wanted to return to my father. And my wife thought it was a scam, so she never replied to it. And then the lady replied again or sent another email, and she finally did and said that she had something she wanted to return to my father. And return to our family it was my father's Bible.
Yes. And you had to be, this is like a time capsule. This is like history, right? Do you want to read that paragraph where she started? She said, during the war.
Yeah. My mother was a member of the resistance who hid and supported people hunted by the Germans. She explained to me that she had hidden an American soldier in our home in Gurgi, the village where we lived in Yanni. I'm not sure. I was only 4 years old at the time and cannot remember this man, if he was wounded or if the Germans were looking for him. But I do know that he was hiding in our attic. He probably gave my mother this Bible to thank her.
Mm. Right. And so when you get something like this, give me a window into your heart, what kind of pride you're feeling then?
Oh yeah. I'm really thankful, and I'm really thankful for the person that took the time and the effort to return it.
Yeah. Because when you think of that bravery, I saw a documentary on the History Channel of those thousands of troops who had to storm Normandy, and the first ones out. The guy interviewed said they fell like whacking weeds, you know, and he, so This is why we're so honored to know you and to share your story.
Okay.
And so you went on to serve in Vietnam, and your dad was a little concerned about that, wasn't? Because he didn't talk much about it. He had struggled like with alcoholism and stuff when he came home, right? He didn't talk so much about it.
Right. Yeah.
But so why did you go on to say, I'm going to serve in Vietnam?
I don't know. I just thought it was my duty, and was proud of the fact that he served, and that was about it. So,
Yes, I hear you. And here, what I thought was so cool, this shield was on the front of that Bible. So your dad was to have held it in his pocket. That's where they carried it over their heart, correct? May this keep you safe from harm, a metal shield.
right. Yes.
I love it. So before we move on, I want to make sure, we look at pictures like this where, it could have been a whole different story of how the world is living today had it not been for these brave men and women and the whole country that rallied in so many ways. So just your thoughts in wrapping up as we celebrate this 4th of July, what it really is for you. Can you hear me still?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So I wonder if you just kind of, we're going to have barbecues. We're going to be doing fireworks, maybe, which we're going to talk about at the end of this too, how we need to be sensitive for veterans for that. But for you, when the 4th of July rolls around, Mike Gosnell, U.S. Marine, Vietnam veteran, what is a 4th of July for you and your friend there?
Go
What
ahead.
do you want people to think of?
Well, for me, it's goes back to the Second World War. My uncle Paul was in the Battle of the Bulge and he survived, and my brother went in to the Korean War in '51, and then I felt like I kind of like Mike. You got to serve your country, and so I went in right after high school. I got into Korea in late 50s, and I spent 14 and a half months there, and it was kind of culture shock when they picked me up in ASCOM, and I was in a truck, and we're riding through Seoul, and it was all bombed out, and some of the villages and other villages were fine, but it was just how lucky we are to live where we do, and the way things worked out. So my brother is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He's 95 now. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just seemed like that was the right thing to do.
There it is. That's
And I
it.
have an uncle that
This
was killed in the
generation.
Second World War. He was a bomber pilot, a 19-year-old bomber pilot. And he went down with his plane. And my grandmother always used to tell my dad, "You take me over there and I'll find Paulie. He said, "No, Mom." They went down in the ocean, and she just, till she passed, she always wanted to go to Europe and find Paulie. But of course, it was not possible.
And see, this is why we're so honored to even have you on this morning. This is why we're asking people to remember stories like this. Y'all are living history books. And when we talk about honoring you, the only reason I even know you guys is because you took an honor flight, Mike. And let's go ahead, Rich. Can we bring in Sam and Valerie? These two dynamo women celebrate veterans every day, not just, I think, Valerie, you might have your mic muted, it looks like, but.
I did. Yes, I did.
All right.
I
So
didn't
Mike,
want you to hear all my background noise in the office.
no worries. These two women, Mike, you know how much they honor you and all these veterans who have served. When you
Yes.
see these women, tell us why they're so important to you, the honor flight that you took.
Oh, it was an amazing time, an amazing thing. I went with 4 friends of mine, and that made it really special. And they do an amazing job. And any veteran that might think about doing it, they should do it.
So Sam and Valerie, you want to give us a window into what those honor flights are? It's a big, long day, and it's something that just fills your heart. I know.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh gosh. Hi everyone. Yes, I'll tell you a little bit about Honor Flight. It is a long day, like you said, Dawn. We get up early in the morning. We meet at the airport, Cleveland Hopkins Airport, 4 a.m. Board a flight to Baltimore. Thank you, Southwest Airlines. And then we head to Baltimore. We get on a charter bus and head right into Washington, D.C. so our veterans can see the memorials that were designed to honor them. Our first stop is the World War II Memorial. And then from there, we head over Korea and Vietnam memorials.
So
and
even just in the two that you just mentioned, that's Mike Gosnell's family.
Yes.
World War II in Vietnam, right there. Yeah.
World War II Vietnam. It's a very long day. We do a wreath laying at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is such an honor. And then we visit the Air Force Memorial and Iwo Jima for the Marine Corps.
I don't know what that sound is in the background, Rich, if someone needs to be removed. But so, yeah, Valerie, look, so you have a career at Southwest Airlines. How many years? 30 something years?
I just celebrated 33 years in February. Been involved with the honor flight now for probably a good 18 years since they incepted their hub here in Cleveland, and became a board member.
Calling. That feels like the calling, the career, but then this big volunteer that you do on your own because of your own heart. Why? What is it for you when you meet people like Mike Gosnell?
And it's just the history within my family as well. I had my grandfather was in World War I. My dad was in Korea. He even had uncles that were in World War II. I'm married into, having a veteran husband for so many years. And when Earl Morris, that's based with the hub, the main honor flight, when he came to Cleveland and he started asking, hey, do you think Southwest Airlines would be involved in this? And I became the liaison right away because I was like, yes, definitely. Southwest Airlines is all about the military anyway. But then I became the liaison, and then before you knew it, they were like, we just need you on the board. And it's been an honor to be able to talk to these guys and get everybody set up and do that, because it's just when you call them and you get that, response from them. Yes, I've been waiting for this, because some of these guys have been waiting 2 and 3 years to get on the honor flight. And so I love making the call to be like, it's your turn. It's your time. Let's go.
Yep.
Wow.
See, so there's so many layers, military background for you as well, and so when we begin to scratch the surface on a day like today of the good stuff of people who have the courage to serve, especially that generation, that World War II generation, and your dad, Mike, what an honor, what a complete honor. Anything else you guys want to add?
You got your
Yeah, I just have this letter here that my father wrote to his mother while he was there and he was wounded, and while he was working his way back to his unit, hitchhiking 900 miles. And on the back is the swastika from the, yeah.
Mm-mm. Wow, that's history. It could have been a whole lot different. It could have ended up a whole lot different, honestly. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Just thank you for really and truly. Thank you for your service, you guys. I'm just so glad that you took the time to be with us today to remind us really what it's all about. What it's all about. It's about people like Mike and Jared. So just thank you. I appreciate you. Valerie,
we thank you for caring.
Not a problem anytime, Dawn. Happy 4th of July to everybody, and have an awesome day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's remove Valerie. Here we go. So another favorite veteran of mine. Hey, guys, can you hang around a little bit longer? Mike, can you just hang in here with us? Because I want you to meet another friend of mine who's a fantastic veteran who loves people like you and lives to honor you guys. Can you hang in?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to pull you backstage real quick, and let's bring up Joe Burdick. Could we, Rich, bring him up? Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, my friend.
Look at you with this flag. So you're a veteran yourself. I want to pull up some of these videos because nobody's getting any younger, but this is you, Navy
look at
veteran.
that kid.
Oh, sir, give me a window into your service as a Navy veteran, serving in the Navy.
Well, before I say that, can I just say to Mike and Jared, thank you
Yes.
both for your service and welcome home. And Sam and Valerie, what they do, wow, that's amazing. I've always wanted to be part of the honor flight. Welcome home, guys, and thank you, Sam and Valerie, for what you guys do.
I'm sure they're writing your name down right now because they are making calls all the time. Yeah. So we're going to get to that awesome flag behind you and how you actually make these flags that are so popular, and so people respect you and your talent. But let's back into it. A Navy veteran yourself right here, right? What year are we looking at around here?
Oh boy, that was on a cruise I did in 1988, 89 on the USS Constellation aircraft carrier. I was in an F-18 squadron. I loaded all the bombs, the missiles, the rockets, the guns on all the airplanes, and these special weapons.
My dad was in the Navy when I was born, actually on a submarine when I was born in Charleston, South Carolina. Navy veteran as well.
Yeah, those submariners, that's a special breed of sailor. I always say I wasn't in the real Navy. I was in the air wing because I lived on a base in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, those submariners, that's real Navy there.
Yeah. And so it's your honor. And I know, speaking of calling, to make these flags that are so popular. People, give me a window into how long you've been doing that and why and what it is exactly. Yeah.
It's actually been 10 years now that I've been doing this. When I first started, not a lot of people around the country were doing it. Now it seems like everybody's doing it. But yeah, I started 10 years ago as a way to kind of honor my fellow veterans and first responders. You know, it started off as just a little side gig, but what it turned into was helping so many different veterans charities I've helped raise hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last decade. And I've donated flags to so many amazing organizations and veterans. And it's something I'm very proud of. And I say it's like I'm still serving through my flags.
I'm going to put this up here too, so that we tell people how they can find you if they want to get
I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, social media. It's Burdick Custom Flags. My website is burdickflags.com. I started a podcast. The podcast is not about Burdick Custom Flags, but it's just something I started as a way to share veterans' stories. And I submit those stories to the Library of Congress Veterans History Project so they can preserve the memories of those veterans forever. But yeah, they can reach me, social media, email, Burdick Custom or Burdick Custom Flags at gmail.com.
All right. So let's walk through some of these. These are some big, who's this? Baker Mayfield?
That's Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Baker, when he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his wife follows my social media, and I wanted to get Baker a flag, and he autographed an Oklahoma Sooners jersey for my son. So that was pretty cool. I'm a big Baker guy.
Yeah. He was the Browns quarterback, for people who didn't know. Yasmin Bleeth.
Yasmin Bleeth, she was on Baywatch. That's my friend Julie Michaels. She was in the movie Roadhouse and Point Break and a lot of other movies.
How about this guy? This was before we know him as he is today.
Yeah, that's the SecDef, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. I met him a couple of years ago. That's Yasiel Puig and my two beautiful kids. In 2019, 4 Cleveland Indians became U.S. citizens, and they all got one of my flags on the field before one of the games.
That's so cool, isn't it, Rich? Honestly, look, I mean, where these flags have been, where they've gone, and what they stand for, right, Rich? How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to share community and patriotism together with those who serve.
Yeah, and it connects all of them. So here are two Medal of Honor recipients, or here's the two.
Yeah, that was Clint Roche. He got the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan. The guy in the white. He has an amazing book, an amazing story. Really super nice guy. And then in the other photo, that is, I actually did a podcast with him on the left there. He's missing his right arm. That's Leroy Petrie. He also got the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan. And what an amazing guy he is, and story, and just faith, perseverance, all that stuff. And that flag right there was signed at the last Patriot Ball. And if you look at the signatures, there were 8 Medal of Honor recipients at the ball, and they all signed that flag. And it's one of the flags I donated for charity, and every penny that was raised went to the Patriot Project. And what you can't see on the back of my flags is I always put a Bible verse. I don't write out the verse, but I'll write something like Micah 6:8 or Matthew 5:9 or Phil 3:12. And my pastor calls it flag evangelism. What my goal is, somebody will see Phil 3:12 in the corner and they'll say, hey, what the heck is Phil 3:12? So that will inspire them to open their Bible. And then my hope is while they're in there reading Phil 3:12 or Micah 6:8 or Matthew 5:9, they'll say, hey, I remember that John 3:16. What does that mean? And then they flip to John, or they go to a different passage. So while they have the book open, I'm hoping they keep reading. So that photo right there, for anybody that's seen the movie Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, that is the Lone Survivor. That is Marcus Luttrell, former Navy SEAL.
Wow.
Yeah. So he obviously has one of my flags, and he was reading what I had written to him on the back of that flag. And I also did one for his brother, a Texas flag. His brother, Morgan Luttrell, is a congressman for Texas, and his flag is hanging in the Capitol building.
I mean, this is legacy of your own that you're creating. Think about, we talk about good stuff.
You know, they've opened up a lot of doors, and I've gotten to have some amazing conversations with some amazing veterans. I've brought battle-hardened Marines like Mike. I brought him to tears talking about the flag and what it means. I mean, I make my flags to be symbolic of the imperfections in our lives and in our world. You know, we're not perfect. My flags aren't perfect. I say they're imperfectly perfect, which is also the reason I use Phil 3:12 as a passage. You know, I don't even use white stain on my flags because I want them to look like they've been through hell, because as veterans and as a country, we have been, and our flag is still, you know, waving, and it's not perfect. We come back with scars or knots or dings, and my flags are symbolic of those things. So they're not supposed to be perfect. They're supposed to be rough around the edges and things like that. And that's why I make them the way I do.
Perfectly imperfect. I love that.
Perfect. Yeah. And you know, I mean, like I said, they've opened up a lot of doors with the Medal of Honor recipients. I mean, who gets a chance to be in a room with 8 Medal of Honor recipients? I got an invitation to Mar-a-Lago in 2023, and I got to meet the president. I mean, I'm a nobody from Cleveland, Ohio, and I got to meet the president. So
no, the people who you're making these flags for would beg to differ, I'm sure. We beg to differ. We think we want to honor you today, a veteran. Like the good stuff that, what do we say, Rich? See the good in others, be the good for them. That's what Joe Burdick is doing.
Well, I certainly try.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to add that one of the big things I'm going to be proud of is I met a state senator here in Ohio, and on August 26, 2021, we lost 13 heroes in Afghanistan when we pulled out. And one of those heroes, he was from Ohio. His name is Max Soviak. And what I'm doing, it's supposed to go to the governor's desk, hopefully this fall. But I met State Senator Rogner, and she is writing a bill and putting it on the governor's desk to make August 26th a state day of remembrance for the 13 heroes that died in Afghanistan. We have a lot of dumb national days of this or national days of that, but we needed a day, in my opinion, we needed a day to honor the sacrifices of those 13 heroes and Max Soviak. And so I was assured that this fall, before Governor DeWine leaves office, he will be signing that bill that makes August 26th Ohio as the first state to recognize and honor the sacrifices of those 13 heroes. So I'm really proud of that. Probably one of the most proud things, that I will have done. Last year, I did a community day of mourning in Seven Hills where I live. And I made a promise to the families of the 13 that died that I'll do it every year and say their kids' names out loud and help keep their memories alive. So yeah, that's something that I'm really big and proud of. That's not a Burdick custom flag thing. That's a Joe Burdick thing, which I try to keep the two separate because I don't want people to think I'm ever trying to profit on that. But I've become friends with the Soviak family and a couple of the other Gold Star families. And it's very important to me to honor the sacrifices of their kids and to remind people that we all need to live our best lives because their 20 and 22-year-old kids died and they don't get to celebrate our 4th of July today like we do. So, today isn't just about fireworks. It's about appreciating the life we have because there's 4 years ago, probably 3/4 of the people that died on August 26th were 20 years old or younger, and they're not here.
I want to thank you for sharing that perspective because it was one of the first stories I covered when I moved to Cleveland as a reporter at 19 Action News. That was one of the very first stories, and I remember it well. So thank you for that perspective check again. That whoever's listening to this. You mentioned fireworks and stuff. It's a perfect segue into yet another veteran who we just met. And Joe, I know you need to go. I thank you so much for carving out this slice of time for us.
Yeah,
just thank you, my friend. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much.
I love you, Donnie.
I love you back, my friend. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Rich, this is a perfect segue. He talked about faith that he puts on the back of his flags. It's a perfect segue to a new friend. Again, I haven't met her personally. I didn't see her till she popped in here to this podcast, but I knew her heart as soon as I talked to her on the phone. So can we bring in Faith right now? Let's pull her up, can we? Mm-hmm. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, and I just want to say and echo Joe. Thank you for his service and welcome home to Mike and his friend from their service because we didn't welcome home our Vietnam veterans very well. So,
amen. We talked about that a little bit, didn't we, Mike, about when you came home from Vietnam, just embarrassingly shameful.
Yeah.
But what can you give us a little window into your heart there? Still, you served and you came back to that. Just give us a window into what that is firsthand from you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You guys are so humble. And I just brought it up because I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of what today is all about. Right, Faith? So I have goosebumps. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. And yourself, an Air Force veteran, y'all don't have to do to serve. And so we honor you. We just honor you. And so I'm going to keep you up there, Mike. And if you guys want to jump back in. But so Faith, now what you're doing this year, hopefully you want people to start thinking about the fireworks and the effect they have for veterans who have PTSD. Tell me a little bit about what's so on your heart right now nowadays.
Yeah, so kind of a crazy situation. I woke up yesterday morning and just kind of in a bad mood. Watched the news and they were talking about fireworks and how wonderful it is and how we're going to do all this great stuff and where are we going to go to watch the fireworks. So I emailed Fox News here locally, Channel 8, and said, why don't you do a segment on where you can go to not watch the fireworks, but still enjoy the celebration for those veterans that have PTSD and have triggers to fireworks. I personally, and they actually came on board and came out and did an interview with me yesterday, and it's been blasting on the news the last 2 days. So it was just something I woke up and thought of yesterday morning.
And by next year, there may be an event. You guys are working, you and Janine Smalley, my awesome plugged in friend as well. I don't know when she sleeps, but she's the one who introduced us.
Yes.
And, so not only for will you share before we get off the PTSD part of this, for you, it's not just the audio,
Yes,
but give us a window really, so people who don't think about it and think about this for you.
right.
Tell me.
So what triggers me, and it was 4 years after I came home from Iraq that I actually felt a trigger from fireworks. I didn't think that they affected me, but it was one day I took my son 4th of July on a boat, and we went out in the middle of the Gulf down in Texas, and we were right next to the fireworks. And because we were right there, I triggered by not the boom and not the lights and the noise, but the percussion of the fireworks after they went off. I could feel it in my feet on the boat. I could feel it in my body. And it literally transported me back to Iraq as if I was back in the war zone. So it just, and ever since then, it triggers me when I can feel it. If there's a gunshot that goes off, or if I'm near anything like that, even when I shoot myself out on my farm, when I'm out shooting at targets, sometimes the percussion can trigger that feeling. So talking to Janine, she's got some inner ear stuff that's gone on for, the past year she's dealt with. And when I told her that yesterday morning on the phone, she said, "Oh my God, that's what happens to me." So not being just veterans with PTSD, you have autistic children, you have dogs. My dog cannot stand, she has great hearing, she can't stand that percussion. And I think people don't realize that it's not just the boom. It's what I feel, and it transports you back. And that's where the trigger comes from for me. I know other people have other triggers, but I've tried to figure out, I retired 2 years ago, and I'm like, I was a VFW and American Legion commander for about 10 years down in Texas. So trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I help my fellow veterans? And by getting this message out and letting people know that although we love fireworks, I love to watch them on TV now, but you can be triggered by it. And it's usually that trigger that happens when I don't know they're coming.
And so you're just asking, I think, for people to consider the very things we used to celebrate people like you could also be traumatic. So what you may do next year, looking for venues to have maybe some bands and fireworks free celebration. Rich, you can relate when she talks about kids with autism and stuff, that sensory even is a lot, with your work that you do at Integrations Treatment Center and the success approach with Lynette Scottis-Watilla, right? You get that.
Yeah, you don't often realize what can set off emotion or, as you mentioned, those triggers for folks. I do a lot of work with American Legions as well. I'm a DJ, I've been for several years, and never realized, I'd bring the whole light show and everything with me when I would go to these shows. And someone approached me at one of the shows and said, "Would you mind cutting the lights?" Never once thought about it as a trigger for our veterans. And a lot more cognizant now of how we can still celebrate, still listen to music, still enjoy each other's company without having to have all those special effects, because you know what effects it has on people.
This has been a great discussion, and we just hope anyone listening just to consider it. And again, thank you, Faith, for your service. I almost don't want to go. I want to keep you all, since you're all here, all this good stuff in one meeting. Thank you again to everyone who has served, just from the bottom of our hearts. And Mike, thanks for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And your dad's story. It's such good stuff. And thanks to the Honor Flight people who make it happen. Thanks again to Joe, who's still hanging in there, buddy. Okay. All right. So this is how we end. Oh, actually, we're foregoing our usual outro video. And I wanted to share a story from way, way back in the day. Howard Greenberg is one of my most favorite people in all of the world. I spoke at his funeral. He's gone now, but he was a World War II paratrooper, and he wanted to jump for the anniversary of Normandy. And they said, no. He's octogenarian. He's in his 80s. And he called the news station. He said, come on out. I'm going to show you I can do this. Not tandem. I mean, on his own, right? So my boss said, heck yeah, get out there. And I could barely even open the door. And he's right there. He's like, oh, you got to meet my wife. She has her hair like yours. And he's got this full head of hair. He's so full of life. And as soon as he introduces me to her, he's smooching all over her. They're so in love. They've been married since she was 18. So there's that story I want to make sure we incorporate as we were telling the story about this World War II paratrooper who wanted to do it again because he can, just to show that he could. So I learned so much from them, Howard and Selma Greenberg. And I couldn't end a segment like this without, especially since we talked to Mike and about his dad, a World War II paratrooper, without showing this story again. And a tribute, even, like I say, Howard is gone, but his legacy lives on. Like, he's such a good stuff dude. He inspired me, not only as a courageous veteran who served, but as a great husband and father who showed us what it means to like stay in love. And you'll see that it's real obvious in this. So, but we end all of our podcast on Friday mornings by saying, we can do this. We can do this, you guys. It's not hard, Rich, to see the good in others and to be the good for them. So on your mark, get set.
Let's go.
I'm going to play this. Hang on. Here we go.
I love 79-year-old Howard Greenberg did it in World War II. Today, he did it again at Cleveland Parachute Center in Garrettsville. Jumping from 4,000 feet with a time-tested cure for any last-minute nervousness.
I think about that lady. I think about the day I married her.
Beautiful.
You get the fever, and I guess the fevers remained with me.
No stopping them. Tried and tried, but no stopping them.
But the government says he's too old to parachute into Normandy next month for the 60th anniversary of D-Day. Why doesn't he just act his age?
I am acting my age. Thank you.
Thank God they had a
Even though he did it in Normandy 10 years ago and nailed it twice today.
We have some people between the age average 18 to 35 that cannot land as well as that guy just did there.
Don't try to stop him now, right?
Definitely not. Why stop a good thing?
Hey, kiddo, give me a kiss, huh?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Thank God. A safe one.
I always jump.
Oh, yes.
This is with this. That's Hebrew for chai, and that's to life. And this was a special jump because it was my 13th jump as a senior. That's like a bar mitzvah jump. Wow. I'm on cloud 9.
So how in the world could any of us who've never jumped out of a plane before ever begin to imagine that intense thrill? You know what? This is Action News. I'm going to go for it. And with that, I knew why Howard was so passionate about parachuting.
High five.
High five. Well, I can't wait to be an octogenarian and keep jumping, hopefully.
Not if Selma has her way. She's only got enough nerves left for the 60th anniversary Normandy jump.
If it does come through that they'll allow them to go, I'm sure this will be the last one.
But Howard's got something he wants to shout over France just one more time. What do you say?
Selma, I love you.
In Garrettsville, I'm Dawn Kendrick, 19 Action News.